sports are a factor in this film, making it perfect for the young man who loves outdoors and whatnot. It takes place around 1913 on the fictional Dunsworth Ranch. It's ran by a father and a son, single father, in Cumberland Forest, Montana. So it's a very isolated ranch in Montana. They don't really have many people around them, maybe a few ranches to the left and to the right. But overall, it's just them two versus every obstacle that they can face. Ray Dunsworth and Jack Dunsworth run the ranch. Ray Dunsworth being the father, aged 45, and Jack being aged 20. Um, the only type of civilization they have around them would be the town of Scottston, which was about 20 to 30 kilometers from the ranch. So this would be a good part of the movie where they could go there for emergencies, for hay, and show what life was like around that time period, because it was a very controversial time for people. They were moving into into civilization. Jobs were coming. Um, Bank loans were a massive thing by this point. They would have started maybe 4 or 5 years before that. Mortgages would come 10 years later. This is that like pivotal moment where it switches from almost the Wild West to a kind of more civilized era. Yeah, so like I said, it takes place around the time of Crown land introductions as well. Government and agencies plan on forcing stricter public land rules, farmer and hunting regulations, which was very controversial at the time. A little bit about the characters. Ray is a stone cold person. He doesn't show much emotion, but he struggles with his emotions. He just bottles everything up. He's one of those stone cold characters. He struggles also with his past, working as a gunslinger and a bounty hunter, and he's also at the same time running a ranch and raising his son. So it's a big order for Ray, and he's just trying to manage everything. Jack, on the other hand, is a tall, strong, and handsome young man. He has little to no memory of his mother, and he is always struggling to try and make his dad proud, even for the smallest things like mowing the lawn or a pot of coffee. Like, since his dad was such a cold person, any type of affection would be a rare occurrence. Ray left his father's ranch, which was also the Dunsworth Ranch, at 18 and became a notorious gunslinger in the South. At 25, he met a woman and he impregnated her with their son Jack, and they later got married after finding out. After the birth of their son, Ray wanted some legal work to keep his family safer, so he moved his wife, and his son, newborn, to the old ranch property in Montana. So he's an extremely strict but fair father, demanding nothing but perfection and consistency from his son, because he lost everything and his son is all he really has left. So he demands the best from him, and the ranch has a reputation in the ranching world at that time for having good cow genetics and healthy herds and whatnot. He's a true American patriot. He believes in the Second Amendment. He's a big gun collector, but the whole kind of concept of his character in the film really is him struggling with his emotions, his PTSD, his gunslinger past, all the stuff he witnessed, and he's hiding that and his wife's murder from his son, knowing what kind of danger it would put his son in. Jack, on the other hand, is a tall and lanky, frustrated and hot-headed, but extremely hard-working 20-year-old trying to follow his dad's footsteps in running and starting a family on the Dunsworth Ranch. Steadily trying to figure out what happened to his mother. Piece by piece, as the movie goes on, he'll start figuring that out and getting little pieces from his father. He realizes his father's hiding something, so he's trying to figure out his father's past throughout the movie. Like previously said, he's constantly, even when he's mad at his father in the film, he can't stop himself from trying to impress his father, as that's just how rare the compliments or any type of affection were because his father's PTSD would just really run his life. Like, he couldn't show emotion, which a lot of people struggle with even today. Whether it's police or Marines or Army, anything, PTSD can come from anything, and it's still very much a modern issue. And I found it interesting looking back and seeing how something like that would have been approached years ago. Jack relates to a lot of kids these days. He relates to having their dreams, his dreams shut down, and having just no confidence due to just no affection as a kid, no love, no motivation, where he can barely hear the words "good job" out of his father's mouth. Never mind, "I love you," and these are all things people need to hear, right? So you'll also see throughout the film how this is affecting Jack and his decision making. The next set of characters, which would be the antagonists, are the Rockford brothers. I wanted to go into a little bit of detail with them. There's three brothers that are sheriffs at the local jail in Scotstoun, coming from a very wealthy family and a very powerful family. Joe, on the left here, was shot and killed by Ray in self-defense years prior. And then later, James and Bill, his two brothers, went to kill Ray only to find he wasn't home. So in retaliation, they ended up taking his wife's life, and they robbed the ranch for everything. So Ray had to start from nothing. And later on in the film, since they run that county, they would come back threatening to take the ranch due to the Crown Land Act and use it for Crown Land if they don't sell it for an extremely low price. So that really, Ray is getting screwed over either way. He's either getting nothing or getting something where he can't live from it. So the whole point is Jack and Ray trying to keep this ranch from the Rockford brothers. The setting, like I said, takes place in Montana, more specifically the Cumberland Forest. I just felt this was great because obviously the beautiful scenery of Montana would tie in with the more emotional parts of the film. So obviously I think Ray's past eventually comes and catches up with him. And I feel like that his death at the end of the film would be an emotional part with at the ranch trying to save his son and keep his son from his old life. And I just feel like that the scenery with the Morricone music would just be such a perfect combination that I feel like it would touch anyone's heartstrings. I feel like it'll really grab the viewer in. Yeah, and it's just a ranch location. Lots of open fields, free roaming cows, but the winters are very brutal, which is a constant problem for the family. The mood of the movie overall is dark, inspirational, moody, cold, dramatic, and suspenseful, which I think are all key things to making a good drama movie or show. It's inspirational seeing Jack come from what he came from and see how he ends up avenging his father's death and having a family on the ranch. The Rockford brothers ended up taking his father's life, and back then, I guess an eye for an eye was a big thing. So he went and avenged his father's death, and later became kind of the hero in the county, and ended up having a successful ranch and raising his family there. So the music, like I said, I'd love for Morricone for this soundtrack. His iconic Western tunes are just undefeated. You got the Dollar Trilogy, Good, Bad, and Ugly, and what I'm trying to make here is a suspenseful, almost Western. So the high BPM is perfect for any stressful scenarios that Jack and Ray could be going through, either with the Rockford brothers or just ranching in general. So yeah, that is my pitch for Faith of a Father. Hopefully you guys like it and could give me a shot. Thank you so much.